Dad investigates after noticing peculiar mark on son's arm. What he finds is unbelievable. When this dad noticed a mark on his kid's arm, he didn't think anything of it initially. Still, he decided to ask the child how it got there. The answer made him change his perspective on the matter entirely. The concerns grew even more when he saw that there were some red spots he didn't notice before. The dad, reasonably baffled, began to wonder what reason the school would have for embarrassing his son in such a manner. His next course of action was to take a picture. He decided that the offender would pay for all of his son's suffering. Tara Chavez decided to go through an investigation before moving her son to Desert Cove Elementary School. She had to get him into a school in the Phoenix area that was conducive to his comfort. Tara thought of all the details, including the class size, her son's sensitivity, and the affordability. She's an incredibly supportive mother who always tries to be active in school activities. After review, she had him enroll at Desert Cove Elementary School. Though she tried so hard to ensure things were perfect, Tara had no idea she made a decision that she would come to regret. After bringing her situation to light, other parents realized how nothing should be taken for granted. After a term passed, it didn't appear as if anything was wrong at the school. As far as Caden, Tara's son, was concerned, he seemed to be doing really well at Desert Cove Elementary School. One day after school, Tara went to get her son and could tell that there was something off. She couldn't tell what it was, so she said nothing and simply hugged him. The first thing she assumed was that her son was a victim of bullying at school from either teachers or fellow students. She thought of other things but wasn't sure how to proceed. As she wanted to handle the situation correctly, she managed to keep it together and tried to cheer him up. Still, she was set on understanding what was wrong, hopefully without upsetting him. Her son said nothing more than he was fine, but his tone wasn't right. He just wasn't opening up, though it was clear that something was deeply disturbing him on the inside. He wouldn't let it out. Tara decided not to press the boy too hard about the situation so he could think. However, during the ride home, she saw a blue mark on his hand and inquired about it. Initially, she thought it was nothing more than some dirt. However, she proceeded to focus on whatever it was, and she realized that it was more than that, and she needed to understand. This was a most unusual mark, and she could tell that whatever was weighing so heavily on him had something to do with it. Her maternal instinct told her that something was off here. Caden finally shared a bit with his mother, and it clued her in onto what may be happening. She knew she had to focus on the road, though, so she remained calm and temporarily rested it. Though she seemed to be holding it together, she was furious on the inside. She gripped the steering wheel tightly and wanted to blow a gasket about the matter. When the pair got home, Caden went to go straight to his room. However, Tara wanted to know the whole story, so she called her husband and they decided to hold a family meeting. Upon getting their first good look at what was under his sleeve, they thought it was a bruise. Then they noticed it was ink. They knew Caden didn't do it based on the words. The stamp read lunch money in all capital letters. They questioned him why he would ever do that to himself. Now they wondered if someone took the boy's lunch money. Eventually, Caden told his parents that the lunch lady did it. As he spoke, his parents became enraged, as it seemed she wished to humiliate the young boy publicly. They did not have it. They asked Caden if he was given a choice in the matter, and he said that she just grabbed his wrist and stamped it. While the pair were upset, they also felt for him. Although Caden couldn't pay for his food, they noticed the lunch money account was low and wondered who else may be using it. Mark, his father, took a photo and uploaded it online. It was clear that Caden's self-esteem took a hit from the whole ordeal. Typically, the school sends an email reminder when the funds are running low. Did someone on the school administration mess up? After the post, the internet started to heat up very quickly. Whether it was to get the experience out or not, people began to share and comment until the post reached a viral stage. People commented with all different sorts of sentiments, but they all seemed to disapprove of how the school went about the issue. One commenter rightfully highlighted the kind of stigma possible. While many people were letting their sentiments be known from an external standpoint, one poster shared that she had this experience in middle school and how it led to her eating disorder. With all the uproar that ended up surrounding the post, ignoring it was impossible. It was only a matter of time before the school got wind of what was happening. Naturally, the school couldn't just ignore all that had happened, and it decided to address the issue. Tara got an email from the administration on the matter, but how did they speak about it? Stacy Orist, Desert Cove Elementary's principal, responded and stated that children get to choose between the stamp or the reminder slip as funds get low, but no ill will was intended. While Tara appreciated the email, she felt that the response wasn't a satisfactory one. She, along with other parents, wanted the stamp method phased out and replaced with something that was more considerate and appropriate. Becky Calbaugh, the Paradise Valley Unified School Difference spokesperson, communicated that Desert Cove never intended nor did it realize that the course of action would bring about such a level of embarrassment. In the statement provided, Calbaugh highlighted the fact that students were offered a choice. However, she indicated that going forward, the school intends to use the notification letter method. While the parents were happy about the announcement, this was not an isolated incident. However, similar situations occurred in the past, but there was no justice because the parents weren't willing to fight the way Tara and Mark did. John Bivens was a son who attends Gardendale Elementary School. He experienced a similar ordeal not too long before Tara's, where his son came home with a confusing lunch money stamp on his arm. As this child's stamp had a smiley face included, the parents thought it was probably something for doing good work. It was only after taking a closer look that the words "I need lunch money" stuck out. John and his wife decided to pack lunches for their son daily after that incident. Therefore, the child didn't have to worry about lunch money, though he did get to buy cafeteria treats sometimes. The worst part is that Caden, who still had a 75-cent balance, this child still had one of $1.38. Therefore, it seemed like the schools weren't checking the balances adequately before stamping children. The dad was understandably upset, based on the fact that many children are interacting. This means that the other kids would see the stamp and know the reason behind it, which compounds the embarrassment. The upset dad continued that it constitutes another form of bullying, which shames children. What do you think of the matter? Do you think the system is harsh, or is it an adequate one? Desert Cove is a school with an affluent status overall. Of the students' population, 32% qualify for subsidized or free lunches. Thankfully, justice was served, and no other student at the school has to suffer this. Sadly, lunch shaming is not an isolated issue in these two schools. The real danger is when it causes kids to start opting to skip their meals, which can hurt them academically or otherwise. The school eventually released a statement saying that it was deeply sorry for the unintentional result of the stamping. The apology was directed at both the students and the parents, and the school promised improvement. The school used the system for many years. However, it committed to better communication with parents in the future. The letter method and email were both put forward to stop this from happening again.